Now let us see electric field lines. The concept of electric field lines was originated by Michael Faraday. It is a non-mathematical way of portraying electric field of a point charge or a system of charges. For this, let us consider this positive Q charge in space. Now, as per the definition of electric field, it is a force per unit positive charge. I repeat, electric field is force per unit positive charge. So, I place a unit positive charge here. This unit positive charge will feel a force in right direction. Now, this is a force vector, but it is a force vector on unit positive charge. That's why this becomes a E vector as well. So this is the electric field vector. Now again, I am placing a unit positive charge here, and so it will have a force again in the same direction, but now this time the vector I have drawn is smaller. The reason is very simple. Here the force will be less. You know, the electric force between two charges is inversely proportional to r square, and that's why the electric field is also inversely proportional to r square. That's why this electric field vector is smaller than the first one. Likewise, I can draw electric field vectors in all the directions. So we will get this type of E vectors in all the directions. Finally, we'll get a picture of something this kind. This is a pictorial representation of electric field of positive Q charge. Now, same way, if we place a negative Q charge in space, then all the electric field vectors will be going towards the charge. The reason is very simple. If I place a unit positive charge, then that unit positive charge will feel an attractive force towards minus Q. That's why the force vector is inside, and so the electric field vectors are also inside, or say towards the charge. Now if we connect all these E vectors, those are pointing in one direction, we get a pictorial representation of electric field in this way. You can see a continuous lines coming outside from this positive charge and a continuous lines coming inside towards the negative charge. This itself is electric field lines. So, the electric field lines due to positive charge are radially outward, and the electric field lines due to negative charge is radially inward. One can draw n number of such type of field lines in any region, but the fact is that the number of field lines are not important. What is important is the relative density of field lines. Let us understand this. Here, for this positive charge Q, the region near the charge Q is having denser electric field lines, whereas if we go away, then here in this region, the electric field lines are rarer. It's obvious that the electric field strength will be more at this point than at this point. So, if the electric field lines are denser, then the electric field strength is more, and if the electric field lines are rarer, then the electric field strength is less. This mentioned here that electric field strength is proportional to the electric field density. Now consider a charge Q and its electric field lines as shown in this figure. We need to understand one thing, that electric field of this charge Q will be three-dimensional, but on this page we can show only two dimension, and here I have shown only a small portion of this electric field lines. Now to estimate the density of field lines, we need number of field lines per unit area perpendicular to the lines. I repeat, density of electric field lines is number of field lines per unit area normal to the lines. Now imagine two equal area elements R and S. This is R and S. They are equal area elements and they are normal to the electric field lines. Here we can see number of electric field lines passing through R is more than number of electric field lines passing through S. That's why it is obvious that the electric field is stronger at R than at S. Now we will understand the dependence of electric field strength on area. For this, first we have to relate area with solid angle delta omega as shown in the figure here. This is delta omega. Let me recall that solid angle is equal to the area upon distance square. Now consider two small area elements delta S1 and delta S2 passing through this point P1 and point P2. Note that both of this area delta S1 and delta S2 are subtending same solid angle delta omega at this point O near charge Q. The distance of point P1 from charge Q is R1 and of point P2 from charge Q is R2. That means R1 is OP1 and R2 is OP2. So, as per the definition of solid angle, we can say that the area delta S1 will be equal to R1 square delta omega and delta S2 will be equal to R2 square delta omega. I repeat, delta omega is the solid angle made at charge Q. Now, if the number of field lines passing through the area delta S1 and delta S2 is N, obviously they are same because you can see in this figure that all the field lines which are passing through delta S1 are also passing through delta S2. So, if the number of field lines passing through these areas is N, let us say, then the field lines per unit area at point P1 will be N upon delta S1. That means N upon R1 square delta omega. And the same way, number of field lines per unit area at point P2 will be N upon delta S2. That means N upon R2 square delta omega. So, number of field lines per unit area means the electric field strength. I repeat, number of field lines per unit area is the electric field strength is clearly depending on 1 upon R square. You can see in both the equations we are having either 1 upon R1 square or 1 upon R2 square. That means the electric field strength is depending on 1 upon R square. Now let us see electric field lines of some simple charge configuration. Here, this is electric field lines of two opposite charges but with same magnitude, plus Q and minus Q. You can see all the field lines are going from positive charge Q to negative charge Q. No field line is going back from negative to positive. Now this is a positive and negative charge but with different magnitude. You can see this is plus 2Q charge and here is minus Q charge. So they are positive negative but the magnitude is different. In this case, there will be more number of electric field lines coming out from this positive charge, whereas less number of electric field lines will be going in negative Q charge. The rest of the electric field lines will be moving in free space. Now this is case of two electric charges of same magnitude and same type. For example, these are two positive Q charges and here these are two negative Q charges. In both the cases you can see the electric field lines are repelling each other. So they are not intersecting each other and being diverted like this without passing from each other in both the cases. Now here is an important note. A tangent drawn on electric field line at any point gives the direction of electric field at that particular point. I repeat, a tangent drawn at any point in the electric field line gives the direction of electric field at that particular point. For example, at this point 1, the tangent is drawn in this direction, and at this point 2, the tangent is drawn in this direction. So, this vector gives the direction of electric field E1 and this vector gives the direction of electric field E2 at this particular point. Now we can understand this definition by this note only. An electric field line is a curve drawn in such a way that the tangent to it at any point is in the direction of the net field at that particular point. What is it saying? Electric field line is a curve drawn in such a way that the tangent to it at any point is in the direction of electric field at that particular point. And that is true. Means all these curves which are known as electric field lines are such curves that at any point if you draw a tangent, then that tangent will be in the direction of electric field at that particular point only. Now let us see properties of electric field lines. The first is that electric field line starts from positive charge and ends at negative charge. This we already know, we have seen the figures that electric field lines start from positive to negative. But for a single positive charge, it starts from the charge and goes to infinity. Obviously there is no negative charge nearby, so all the electric field lines will go to infinity. And for a single negative charge, the electric field lines will be coming from infinity and will end to the charge itself. Now the second is, in a charge-free region, electric field lines can be taken to be continuous curves without any breaks. You can see here, this is a portion where there is no charge inside. That means it is a charge-free region. This electric field is produced by these two charges, but in this region there is no charge. So I can draw this electric field lines continuously without any breaks. Third is, two field lines can never cross or intersect each other, because if they do, there will be more than one direction of electric field at the particular point of intersection, which is not possible. Here I have drawn two electric field lines, line 1 and line 2. Now at the point of intersection, if I draw a tangent to line 1, then that shows the electric field E1. And if I draw a tangent to line 2, then that shows electric field E2. That means at this point there are two directions of electric field, which is obviously not possible. So intersection of two field lines is not possible. The fourth is that electric field lines of static charge never form a closed loop. This we have seen already, that electric field lines always pass from positive to negative but never go from negative to positive back. That means electric field line never form closed loops. This is due to the conservative nature of electric field.